After I gave birth, I decided to end things with the married man. I decided to focus on my boyfriend and my baby boy. It was like the affair with the married man and the wild parties and temporary breakup with my boyfriend never happened. One day, I unexpectedly ran into Sophia at an event. I had already stopped going to yoga because of her. She was the last person I wanted to see in my life. I had already blocked her number, so I ignored her and walked past her. She shouted my name, trying to get my attention, but I paid her no mind. When I realized she wouldn't stop following me, I decided to stop and hear what she had to say. After I stopped, she told me that she was sorry for everything that had happened and for destroying our friendship. She told me that she had a hand in getting my boyfriend back to me. She claimed to have encouraged my boyfriend to come back to me, and she just wanted me to know that. She said she didn't like that I have been going around saying bad things and gossiping about her, and it's not fair to her. I asked her what she meant by that, and she said that when my boyfriend left me, she felt responsible for introducing that lifestyle to us, and that it wasn't for everyone. Some couples are not strong enough to withstand the vicissitude of emotions that comes with living that sort of lifestyle. She convinced other couples that she's friends with to stay away from my boyfriend. When my boyfriend realized that he's no longer being invited to parties, he decided to return to me. After she finished telling me that fantastic story, I didn't know how I felt about it, because she made it seem like my boyfriend came back to me because he had no other options, and not out of his own volition. I believe her motive was selfish and wasn't to help my relationship, but to exonerate herself because she didn't put my boyfriend in a good light. Although I appreciated her effort, I wasn't going to be close to her again. I had no use for her because I thought I wasn't going to be back to that lifestyle. And that was all she talked about when we were friends. When I returned home, I confronted my boyfriend and he denied it. He reiterated his commitment toward our relationship and being there for our son. He said that lifestyle was fun for a while, but he missed what we had. He showed me evidence that he was still getting invited, but he keeps turning them down. He's a good father to our son, and all our energy was put into raising our son. When my son was a year old, I decided to return to work. I was coming back from work one day when I saw the married man again. I haven't spoken to him in a long time, and I have been avoiding his calls. He asked me why I was avoiding his calls. I responded that I need to stay away from him because he's bad business for my relationship. We laughed about it, and he responded that he wants us to be friends, nothing more. He said since his workplace is close to mine, we will be running into each other from time to time, and we can't keep passing by each other without saying hello. I agree with him, but I told him we can't be friends, but I will say hello when we see each other. He agreed, and we went back to work. For the next few weeks, we continued to run into each other. Each time we would try to get more friendly and extend the conversation. I wanted to reciprocate, but I knew the danger. I knew I was attracted to him, but I was determined not to be drawn into another affair. One day I was having a Subway sandwich during lunch by myself outside a Subway when he showed up at my table. I was a little surprised, but he said he wanted to join me for lunch. I normally go to lunch with coworkers, and sometimes I go to lunch alone, but this is one of those days that I went by myself. We started talking about our life and my son, and he gave me some advice about daycare and how to deal with health issues for young kids and new mom from his wife's experience. From then on, we started having lunches together, and we became friends, just like he wanted. I told myself I would not allow myself to fall for him again. When he advanced at me, I kept turning him down. We continued our friendship on and off, having lunch together and testing every now and then. But nothing went past that. We didn't get physical. Few months later, I was pregnant with my second child, and my boyfriend proposed and we got married. Our relationship was stronger than ever. After having my second son, After having my second son, it made sense for me to be a stay-at-home mom rather than continue to work. My husband had to work more hours, and sometimes he had to travel. The freedom we enjoyed when we were just boyfriend and girlfriends were gone. Now it's all about the kids. My husband was consumed with work, and we couldn't do much when we come home because he was tired. I tried my best to make him happy when he comes home. I make sure his dinner is ready, his outfits for the next day is ironed, and I even give him massages sometimes. Few months into being a stay-at-home mom, I enjoyed it, but sometimes it could get boring. I'll be taking the kids on a walk on their twin strollers and would wash and clean all day. The boredom allowed me to open myself to seeking attention. The married guy called me one day, and from then on, we started talking at least once a day. Our bedroom life fell off the cliff to the extent that I forgot that we haven't had sex for 2 months. That never happened since we were swinging few years back. I know my husband wasn't having an affair, evidenced by the amount of money he's bringing back home was increasing month to month. One time my mom came visiting and she was supposed to stay for 2 months. We have always talked about bringing my mom to babysit for us, so me and my husband can have some time for ourselves. One day we got ready for a dinner date. I bought a new dress that I wanted to surprise my husband with, so I got all dressed up and ready to go out with my husband. Unfortunately, he came out and told me that there was an emergency at work and they are calling him in. He promised to make it up to me before he left. Now, I was just sitting there, all dressed up, looking nice, and I didn't want to take the dress off. I wanted to show off that night, but I couldn't go out alone. I called my girlfriend, but she wasn't available. Then I called the married man and asked him if he wanted to go to dinner at the restaurant with me tonight. He said he was not available, but he would make time. He gave me a call back a few minutes later and then came by to pick me up. It was almost midnight when we finished at the restaurant. He made his move while we were in the car, and we started making out. We went to a secluded parking spot, and we did it in his car. I felt bad that I didn't feel guilty afterwards, because it was almost like we carried on from when we left off years ago. I felt like I was actively trying to ruin my marriage, but the risks makes it even more enticing. I got so comfortable with the affair that I was bringing him to my house when my husband was at work. My kids saw him sometimes, but they were still too young to be aware. My married affair partner opened up to me that he was still swinging with his wife and that I should join them if I want. In my hubris, I raised the stake even higher by taking him on his offer to join him and his wife with other couples on orgies. And even some of the couples knew my husband. My husband came home one day accusing me of cheating on him and that I was still swinging. I didn't try to deny it because he told me that some of the couples I have been partying with told him about it. Moreover, he installed a GPS tracker on my car and knew my whereabouts. I was in trouble, but he would have taken it much harder if he had known how long I have been having an affair with the married man, and he would have killed me if he had found out I was bringing him to our house when our kids were present. All he knew was I went to a party twice, and some couple told him about it. We are currently separated and I'm not looking forward to returning to the corporate world, but I have to because he has stopped supporting me financially, except for when it comes to things that have to do with our kids. I have broken up contact with the affair partner, and I am hoping that with time, me and my husband will work things out like we did before. Please give me some advice on what I need to do to get my husband back.